other encephalitic arboviruses. These are mosquitoes and bugs and a bug, and we've already looked at some of them. You will identify them in your free time. So what are our learning objectives for today? So in today's class, by the time we are done, you are going to be able to define the arboviruses and explain their transmission cycle through the mosquitoes and other vectors, and also have an overview of other major encephalitic arboviruses. Our major focus for this class will be the West Nile virus, and we shall discuss the life cycle within the mosquito vector and the human host. And then we shall look at the signs and symptoms of the West Nile virus infection, and also the public health implication and prevention and control strategies to this infection. So let's first look at the important terminology in this class, in today's class. So let's begin with the term What is an epizootic? Yeah, already have it displayed, but I would love it to have it discussed within the Ron thought, I think you can have your mic muted. Ron thought, if you're not, please mute. Thank you. Yes, Eguma. What do you understand by epizootic?
I think looking at what it is reflected in the slide, that episodic or refers to epidemic in animal population. And now when we talk of epidemic normally refers to an infection that goes beyond the threshold, what to some extent is normally considered normal. So meaning it is an infection that comes in very big quantity, that comes up with heavy caseload beyond the threshold that is normally considered as to be within a normal range. Over to you.
Thank you for your submission. Hello? Dennis, you have something Hello? Different?
Yes. Yeah, just to add
yes,
on
Dennis.
what Guma has stated. Episodic,
yeah,
it
we are
normally
here.
refers to, yes, I'm saying episodic refers to a sudden and widespread outbreak of disease among animals. So it is similar to epidemic in human, but among animals we call it episodic. Thank you.
Very perfect submission. Yeah, thank you very much. I think, Alex, you're gonna give us an example of an episodic disease. You have your hand up, Alex?
Yes. Yeah, I'm getting you. I have also a little bit of similar definition of epizootic. But for me, it's like it's a disease or a recurrent of a disease that happens in a specific geographical location, and it is mostly focused on animal population. That's according to me.
Thank you very much. You didn't give us an example of the episodic, Alex. Franco, you have
Let
an
me
example?
Hello?
Yeah, one of them could be anthrax.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Alex, you have one?
Hello? Hello?
let me first speak.
Yes. You.
Yeah. But the other example is rabbit hemorrhagic disease.
Okay. Thank you. Michael, can you mute, please, if you're not telling us anything? We don't want to lose you in the class. Mm. I don't know why you keep missing out classes because you can't mute. Justin, do you have something for us?
I was also trying to suggest the example. I said, what came in my mind is brucella. So I say I can also mention as one of the example. Thank you. Up to you.
Okay. Now we are going to see whether our examples really fit in our definitions. So, like, was it Dennis or Franco? One of you clearly defined an episodic. It is an outbreak of a disease that affects a large number of animals within a particular region simultaneously at the same time, and it is similar to an epidemic, as he told us. The key word is it is an outbreak and it affects the animal population. That definition. So one clear example that I could have is it is an outbreak, and different people and the next poultry farmer talking about bird flu. So that is a brief definition of an episodic. So moving on to an enzotic, it's a it is a disease that is consistently present within a particular animal population or geographical area. So this disease persists at baseline level, and it is similar to an endemic disease in humans. So rabies would be an example of an exotic disease. Do you have any other examples of exotic diseases as per the definition? Are we together?
Yes, madam, we are together.
An example of an exotic disease?
Can we talk of foot and mouth disease?
Yes, good. We can talk about Newcastle, common diseases that are usually common in poultry. That cause alarming. Other examples, Franco. I'm sure you have an example.
Now, I think the previous example which was given, that is Brucella can actually fit into this, though I'm not certain.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to actually mention that. So the different, you can look at the different diseases in animals and fit them into the definitions. So let's move on to humans. We have an epidemic that is similar to the episodic in animals, and it is a sudden increase in the number of cases of a disease above what is normally expected in a population in a particular geographical area. So epidemics usually occur when conditions favor the rapid spread of that infectious agent. I think these ones you have so many examples. So everyone is going to be able to mention one. Beginning with COVID-19, that is one. Justin?
Thank you. I can say epidemic that can be measles. That's I think the one that came in my mind immediately. Perhaps also polio can be
Okay.
one of them. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Franco? I'm choosing randomly because at least everyone has an example. Just mention one so that you do not exhaust the answers for the rest of the students. Franco? Okay, let's move on to Dennis as Franco is still thinking. Okay, yes, Franco.
This one, I'm still thinking a bit. Let me pass the mic to another student at the moment.
Choose anyone. Choose anyone.
Okay, let me see. Hepatitis.
Okay, we are going to talk about that.
Can be
Dennis?
hepatitis C.
When we talk of epidemic diseases, I think there is one which is Spanish flu, which took really long, and when it comes, the situation is normally worse. It's called a Spanish flu. I don't know what the name is there for it. Anyway.
Okay, thank you. Gabriel?
Ebola.
Thank you, Franco.
I'm even saying malaria.
Gabriel?
No,
Sorry?
malaria is not epidemic. Influenza.
Okay. Malaria is not an epidemic.
Malaria is
Alex?
endemic.
Yes.
Alex?
Yeah, for
An
me,
example of
I
an
can give
epidemic?
yeah, when you talk of epidemic, Ebola is also one of the epidemic.
Ebola has been mentioned. Alex, you still have the mic?
Yes, yes. I said Ebola is one of the epidemic disease
Mm,
that
Also, cholera also maybe one of the
yes, and
epidemics.
Ebola has been mentioned. Cholera, thank you. Thank you. who has not yet talked to us? Ron thought.
Yeah, I can mention like cholera. Cholera is maybe one of the epidemic disease because it does not occur many times. Sometimes it takes time to make an outbreak.
Okay. I think the others are excused with interest of time. Mm. I think everyone has had an opportunity to say something. Let's move on. We've not looked at the endemic diseases. So endemic is similar
Yeah,
to the exotic. It actually occurs also in human population. So that's endemic disease is consistently present at a steady state in a specific population or geographical area. So these diseases exhibit regular predictable patterns of occurrence, often influenced by seasonal factors. So malaria is an endemic disease in many parts of sub-Saharan Africa. This malaria disease persists all year round with transmission rates often influenced by seasonal changes such as the rainy season. Just a minute. So let's move on to other terminologies. So we have zoonosis, which refers to infectious diseases that can be transmitted from other animals or insects to humans. And these diseases can be caused by viruses, bacteria, parasites, or fungi. An example is most of the diseases that we've talked about in our previous lectures, and then the West Nile virus that we are going to talk about. So let's also talk about the reservoir host, which is an organism in which an infectious disease is maintained in nature. So the host supports ongoing transmission of the pathogen. It doesn't often show any signs of illness under exotic conditions. So an example are birds that are primary reservoirs of the West Nile virus. So this virus persists in the birds' population and is transmitted to mosquitoes when they feed on the infected birds. So briefly about the amplifying host. So an amplifying host is an organism in which the infectious agents multiply to high concentrations, facilitating large outbreaks that can spill over into the human populations. So these hosts typically become ill and the disease spreads rapidly under epizootic conditions. A host can serve as an amplifying host for West Nile virus because when it is infected, it can develop high viral loads, leading to severe illnesses and increased transmission risk to mosquitoes, which can then spread the virus to humans. So moving on, let's talk briefly about the arboviruses. So what are arboviruses? These are viruses transmitted by arthropods, such as mosquitoes and ticks. So these viruses are generally RNA viruses from different families, including the Flaviviridae, the Togaviviridae, and the Bunyaviviridae virus families. And their classification has been highlighted in this diagram. So you will find time, click on this link and read about a detailed transmission cycle of the arboviruses in detail. Click on this link. It will take you to a page where you'll be able to read about the arboviruses transmission cycle in detail. Are we still together?
Yes, we are getting
Hello?
you.
We are getting you loud
Yes,
and clear,
madam.
please.
Keenly following.
Okay, let's move on. Still about the arboviruses. Over 501 animal viruses are suspected to be transmitted by arthropods, and 134 are documented cause illnesses in humans. Most of these arboviruses are zoonoses, with exceptions like dengue, yellow fever, Zika, and chikungunya. Humans are almost always dead-end hosts. They do not proceed. They don't produce a high enough. They don't produce a very high viral level for the infection of these vectors. So there is a global increase in arboviruses in the last 20 years due to complex reasons, including the demographic changes, climatic changes, the resistance in vector control, globalization, among others. So let's also look at briefly an overview of the encephalitic arboviruses. So these encephalitic arboviruses cause inflammation of the brain, and their symptoms range from mild to severe, fever, headache to confusion, seizures, and coma. So this is one of the bugs that carries the encephalitic arboviruses. So the common arboviruses include the West Nile virus, the, the Eastern equine encephalitic virus, the Japanese encephalitis virus, the St. Louis encephalitis virus, and then La Croix encephalitis virus. And these belong to different genuses. And their distribution is still indicated here. The West Nile virus is widely distributed globally. The Eastern encephalitis virus is found mainly in America. The Japanese virus is prevalent in Asia and Western Pacific regions, among others, as described in the slides. First connect power source. So moving on, let's look at the West Nile virus in detail. The West Nile virus was first isolated in 1937 from a woman in the West Nile district of Uganda. I think that is where the name came from, West Nile virus. So it was subsequently identified in birds, mosquitoes, and humans in Africa, Europe, the Middle East, and West Asia. This virus was first detected in the US in New York City in 1999. It then spread rapidly across the continental US and into Canada, Mexico, and then the Caribbean. And it has already shown correlation between outbreaks in animal and human populations. There are numerous recorded cases and fatalities over the years. So looking at the distribution of this West Nile virus. So the West Nile virus is now endemic in Africa and some parts of Europe, the Middle East, Asia, Austria, and America, as represented in the graph. No, in the map. So let's look at the West Nile transmission cycle. So the primary vector is the Culex species mosquito. It is in particular the species that transmits this virus. Other mosquito species can also transmit the virus, but the Culex mosquito are the most efficient. So we have the primary hosts, which are the birds. So these birds, particularly the passerine species, are the primary reservoir hosts. So they develop high levels of the virus in their bloodstream. So the incidental hosts or the accidental hosts, which are the people or animals, they're usually called the dead end, as they do not develop sufficient viremia to infect the mosquitoes. And this is how it moves. The vector bites the reservoir host, the bird, and then the bird from the bird, the mosquito can get the virus and then it transmits it to the humans. That is briefly about the transmission cycle. So this slide is explaining to us what I have been talking about in the previous slide.
I don't understand between. I saw the birds and I saw the horse and the human being. Does it mean that also the mosquito can also transmit the infection to the bird, or how are they there?
Sorry? Come again, please.
According to the cycle I saw the bat and mosquitoes plus accidental animal like people, yeah, host, people, animal. So what is the relationship with this birds and the animals?
Is there someone who has understood it and can explain to him? Hello? Hello? Yes, Alex.
Let me try how I understood. According to the illustration, it's like the mosquito can bite, can transmit the infection, infection to the birds, and the birds can easily also uh, get contact with the human. So that's how we get the Nile virus disease, West Nile, Western Nile virus disease.
Okay, anyone with a different opinion? Justin, do you have the same opinion?
Yes, madam, I think it's the same. Because when you see the arrows where the mosquitoes, after getting these are from the bat, now once it come in contact with the human, so that's when it is transmitted to human. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Ron, you're unmuted. Do you have something to say? Yes, Ron.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Yeah, according to how I see all the arrows, yeah, it looks like the infection come from the mosquito to bat, and it looks like the bat infection is coming from the bat to mosquito, as well as it is spread to the people and the other animal around. This is what I am looking.
Okay, thank you very much. So we said,
Hello.
that, yes, Franco.
Yeah. Sorry for interrupting in. There are these two
So,
terms you have used where the mosquito may be carrying the virus, but it needs another host so that the virus can multiply rapidly, and that host is the birds, where the virus can multiply rapidly. Then when the mosquitoes go and get blood meal again from these birds, they can easily now transmit to human or even to animal. So human and animal in this case are the dead host, like you have mentioned. Thank you.
I think that
thank
is
you so much. much.
So he has made a very clear answer. That's it. I also agree with that
Michael, are you okay
explanation.
with it? Okay. Michael, are you now okay? Is it Ron or Michael who asked the question?
It's Michael.
Are you okay?
Yeah, it is very clear.
Okay. But we should be very careful with the terms, the reservoir, the vector, the accidental hosts, and also the amplifying hosts. So although the amplifying hosts are not represented in this diagram, we shouldn't just cram the diagram because you may be presented with a different diagram. We should be very conscious about the definitions. That is why I took time to first get through the definitions at the start of the class. So moving on, if we've talked about that, let's look at the symptoms of these West Nile viruses. Today we do not have pictures of the symptoms. I think we just have one. So the majority, approximately 8% of West Nile virus infections are symptomatic, and only about 20% of the infected individuals develop mild symptoms. So these mild symptoms can include fever, headache, fatigue, skin rash on the track of the body, swollen lymph glands, and eye pain. So there are also neurologic impacts that exist under severe cases. These may include encephalitis, which is the inflammation of the brain leading to symptoms like coma, confusion, and seizures. We also have meningitis, which is the inflammation of the membrane surrounding the brain and spinal cord, presenting with symptoms like the stiff neck, headache, and sensitivity to light. Also have the acute flaccid paralysis, which presents polio-like syndrome, causing sudden onset of limb weakness. And some patients may experience prolonged fatigue, muscle weakness, and neurological symptoms. So the fertility rate of severe cases is approximately 10%, and there are seasonal peaks in August due to winter, which is always the breeding season of these mosquitoes. So this is showing us a rash on the body of the infected individual and some symptoms of the virus picture. So how do we prevent this West Nile virus? Use of insect repellents, eliminating standing water around homes, using window and door screens, wearing long-sleeved shirts and pants. So introduction of fish that feed on mosquitoes in permanent pools of water. And I think that marks the end of our lecture for today. Any questions? We still have